Everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be covering the films that we loved of 1940. These are the best films of 1940. You're here at Yesteryear and today, so let's get started. You're missing the point. The boyfriend of the servant of a rich industrial man gets into the house in order to kill a mad dog, featuring the legendary Cantinflas, very famous, one of the best actors in Mexico. You're missing the point. Next up we have is All This and Heaven 2, drama and romance. A duchess's irrational behavior toward her children, governess, triggers tragic events that will change her family's lives forever. Bette Davis and Charles Boyer in All This and Heaven 2. Another great movie is An Angel from Texas. Stage struck, Lydia Weston leaves her small Texas town for Broadway. Left behind is her steady beau, Peter. Lydia sends letters and news clippings, but Peter gets jealous. An Angel from Texas. Andy Hardy meets Debutante, comedy, family, and romance. Judge Hardy takes his family to New York City, where Andy quickly falls in love with the socialite. However, he finds that hanging out with all the wealthy people, he realizes how poor he really is. Andy Hardy meets Debutante. Arizona, drama and western. In Tucson of the 1860s, a pioneer woman struggles to succeed in the freight and cattle business, while at risk at the hands of corrupt and violent local businessmen and rampaging Indians. Arizona. Beyond Tomorrow, drama, fantasy, and romance. The ghosts of three elderly industrialists killed in an airplane crash return to Earth to help reunite a young couple they initially brought together. This is not bad. So, drama, fantasy, and romance. Boomtown, Clark Gable, Claudette Colbert, and Spencer Tracy and Hedy Lamarr. Two buddies whose rise, fly-by-night wildcatters to oil tycoons over a 10-year period, both love the same woman. Drama, romance, and western. Boys of the City, comedy, mystery, and thriller. Street kids get sent to the country where they get mixed up in murder and a haunted house. I love Boys of the City and the East Side Kids. The East Side Kids were the teenagers of the 30s and 40s, and they caused trouble, and they solved crime, but they were good. Brother Orchid, featuring Edward G. Robinson. Comedy, crime, and drama. When retired racket boss John tries to reclaim his place and former friends try to kill him, he finds solace in a monastery and reinvents himself as a pious monk. Brother Orchid. Charlie Chan at the Wax Museum. Charlie Chan was very popular back in the 40s. An escaped convicted murderer hides out at a New York wax museum where he hopes to get plastic surgery, which will help him revenge himself on Charlie Chan. So he wants to get back at Charlie Chan. Charlie Chan in Panama. Inspector Chan investigates a group of travelers, one of whom is a saboteur. Adventure and mystery. Charlie Chan was very popular in the mid-late 30s and early 40s, as you can tell. We love Charlie Chan. Charlie Chan's Murder Cruise. That's next. Charlie tries to discover the identity of a strangler who strikes multiple times on a cruise ship bound from Honolulu to California. Mystery, featuring Sidney Toler. Charlie Chan's Murder Cruise. Next up we have is City for Conquest. Danny is a content truck driver, but his girl Peggy shows potential as a dancer and hopes he too can show ambition. Drama, musical, and sport. And Sheridan and James Cagney in City for Conquest. Colorado. Trouble in Colorado is tying up Union troops needed back east during the Civil War, and Lieutenant Burke is sent to investigate. Drama, musical, and western, featuring the legendary Roy Rogers. Colorado. You have Arizona, you have Colorado. A lot of movies named after states. Comrade X, an American reporter smuggling news out of Soviet Moscow, is blackmailed into helping a beautiful communist leave the country. Clark Gable and Hedy Lamarr in Comrade X. Dance Girl Dance. We have Maureen O'Hara and Hayward and Lucille Ball. When a troupe of dance people become unemployed, one of them takes up burlesque dancing while another dreams of performing ballet. Dance Girl Dance. The Devil Bat, featuring Bela Lugosi. A mad scientist develops an aftershave lotion that causes his gigantic bats to kill anyone who wears it. Not bad, huh? Here, try this lotion. They put it on and then the bats kill him. Doomed to Die, featuring Boris Karloff. Remember after Frankenstein and Dracula? They had to branch out and make other movies. Mr. Wong and a girl reporter investigate a shipping magnate's murder. Crime, drama, and mystery. Doomed to Die, featuring the legendary Boris Karloff. Down Argentine Way, comedy, drama, and musical. An American girl on vacation in Argentina falls for a wealthy racehorse owner. She's trying to grab his coin. Down Argentine Way, featuring Donna Michi and Betty Grable and Carmen Miranda. Remember Carmen Miranda? She wore the basket of fruit on her head. Remember her? Alright, Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet. True story of a doctor who considered it was not immoral to search for a drug that would cure syphilis. Syphilis, gonorrhea, all those sexual diseases. So here he is trying to cure syphilis back in 1940. This movie was scary for its time. Dr. Cyclops. I saw this in the 70s. A mad scientist working in the South American jungle miniaturizes his colleagues when he feels his megalomania is threatened. Adventure, drama, and horror. So he shrinks people and then he tries to kill them or do their bidding. East Side Kids. Again, those kids from the 30s and 40s. This movie is called East Side Kids. After being falsely accused of a murder, a group of kids have to find the real killer in order to clear their names. East Side Kids. Next up we have Walt Disney Classic, which I can watch over and over, is Fantasia, a collection of animated interpretations of great works of Western classical music, ranging from the abstract to depictions of mythology and fantasy. Animation, family, and fantasy. Walt Disney's Fantasia. The Fighting 69th. Action, adventure, and biography. Although loudmouth braggart Jerry Plunkett alienates his comrades and officers, Father Duffy, the regimental chaplain, has faith that he'll prove himself in the end. James Cagney is brilliant. Young People. A show business family leaves the Great White Way and heads for a farm in New England. What results is the difficulties they have before they are accepted in the community. Featuring Shirley Temple. You know who? Shirley Temple. I love Shirley Temple. Next up we have is Flight Command, Robert Taylor. Adventure, drama, and romance. A rookie flyer, Ensign Alan Drake, joins the famous Hellcat Squadron right out of flight school in Pensacola. Flight Command, featuring the legendary Robert Taylor. Foreign Correspondent. On the eve of World War II, a young American reporter tries to expose enemy agents in London. Foreign Correspondent. Joel McCrea. This movie is great. It's a scorcher. It's sizzling. It's really good. Remember, back in the 40s, it was all dialogue. Gallant Sons. Two childhood friends have a falling out because of their father's occupations, which lands one father in jail. Benita Granville, Jackie Cooper, Gail Patrick, Gene Reynolds, Ian Hunter. Gallant Sons. Gaslight. 20 years after the murder of Alice, her house is finally occupied again. However, the husband from the couple who have moved in has a secret which he will do anything to keep hidden. Gaslight. This movie is a mystery and thriller. Go West, featuring the Marx Brothers. Everybody loves the Marx Brothers. The Marx Brothers come to the rescue in the Wild West when a young man trying to settle an old family feud so he can marry the girl he loves runs afoul of crooks. Who doesn't love Marx Brothers? The Great Maginty, or Down Went Maginty. However, there are two titles. Dan Maginty has great success in his chosen field of crooked politics, but he endangers it all in one crazy moment of history. One crazy moment of honesty. Down Went Maginty. Comedy. Green Hell, Adventure and Romance. In the jungles of the Amazon, a group of Western adventurers and two local natives guides try to locate a lost treasure buried beneath an ancient Incan city. Green Hell. He married his wife, Joel McCrae and Nancy Kelly. Comedy. Racehorse owner pays so much attention to business, he winds up divorced from his wife. His alimony payments are so steep, he plots with his lawyer to get her married off. So he wants to marry her off so he can stop paying some coin. His Girl Friday is a true gem, true classic. I watched this over a gazillion times. A newspaper editor uses every trick in the book to keep his ace reporter ex-wife from remarrying. Tons of great dialogue. They go back and forth. Cary Grant is brilliant. Rosalind Russell, this is a gem. I Love You Again. Comedy, musical, and romance. Lots of musical and romance back in the 40s. Boring businessman Larry Wilson recovers from amnesia and discovers he's really a con man and loves his soon-to-be ex-wife. Comedy, musical, and romance. I Love You Again. It All Came True. Comedy, crime, and drama. After crooked nightclub owner Chips McGuire murders a police informant, he blackmails his piano player to allow him to stay at his eccentric mother's boarding homes. Comedy, crime, and drama. It all came true. Kitty Foyle. Ginger Rogers as Kitty Foyle, a hard-working white-collar girl from a middle-class family, meets and falls in love with a young socialite, but she soon clashes with his family. So she's poor to the floor, and the family don't want her. Newt Rockney, All-American. Everyone loves this. One of the great sports, drama, and family movies of all time. The story of legendary Notre Dame football player and coach Newt Rockney, featuring the great Pat O'Brien. You'll love Pat O'Brien. If you don't know who he is, watch this movie. You'll become a big fan of Pat O'Brien. Music in My Heart. Rita Hayworth co-stars with famed recording artist Tony Martin in this musical comedy featuring the music of Andre Kostelanetz. I'm saying it wrong. And his orchestra. Musical and romance. Music in My Heart. My Little Chickadee. Classic with W.C. Fields and Mae West. Comedy and western. After a scandal runs a gold digger out of town, she meets a con artist and becomes embroiled in a string of petty deceits. My Little Chickadee. He always did that. Remember that? My Little Chickadee. My Favorite Wife. Missing for 7 years and presumed dead, a woman returns home on the day of her husband's second marriage. Now this is Irene Dunne, Cary Grant, and Randolph Scott. This is when rumors were circulating that Cary Grant and Randolph Scott were living together. They were lovers, and that was during that era. Night Train to Munich. Drama, thriller, and war. After Germany invades Czechoslovakia, the German and the British intelligence services try to capture Czech scientist Dr. Axel Baumash, inventor of a new type of armor platinum weapon. Night Train to Munich. Northwest Mounted Police. In 1885, a Texas Ranger travels to Canada to arrest a trapper who's wanted for murder and who's stirring up the natives in a rebellion against the Canadian government. Northwest Mounted Police. This movie looks good. Northwest Passage, featuring Spencer Tracy. Langdon Town and Hunk Mariner join Major Rogers' Rangers as they wipe out an Indian village. They set out to Fort Wentworth, but when they arrive, they find no soldiers. Adventure, drama, and history. One Night in the Tropics. I believe this was Abbott and Costello's first feature film cameo. Jim Moore, an insurance salesman, comes up with a novel policy for his friend Steve, a love insurance policy that will pay out $1 million. Comedy, musical, romance. Our Town. Change comes slowly to a small New Hampshire town in the early 20th century. Drama, family, and romance. Our Town. William Holden and Martha Scott. William Holden is an awesome actor. Check him out. The Long Voyage Home. Drama and war. A merchant ship's crew tries to survive the loneliness of the sea and the coming of war. The Long Voyage Home. John Wayne, Thomas Mitchell, and Ian Hunter. Pinocchio. Everybody loves Pinocchio. If you were a kid of the 40s and 50s and 60s and on, you know Pinocchio. A living puppet with the help of Cricket as his conscience must prove himself worthy to become a real boy. Everybody loves Pinocchio. One of the masterpieces of Walt Disney. Brigham Young. In 1844, after the assassination of Mormon leader Joseph Smith by an angry mob in Illinois, the Mormons chose Brigham Young as their new leader and followed him to a new promised land in Utah, Brigham Young University. Now you know where it came from. Brigham Young, Tyrone Power, and Dean Jagger. Torrid Zone, action, adventure, and comedy. Played by revolutionaries that harassed his plantation in a banana republic. Fruit Company exec Steve Case rehires former nemesis Nick Butler to restore order and profits. Torrid Zone. The Man with 9 Lives. A medical researcher visits the deserted home of a pioneer in cryogenic science who disappeared 10 years earlier and finds him frozen in ice but still alive. Not bad, huh? They're doing cryogenics back in 1940. Who would have thought? So, horror, mystery, and sci-fi. Pride of the Bowery. The Bowery Boys and the East Side Kids were the same, just different names. New York City street principals get an East Side kid in trouble at a civilian conservation corps camp. Comedy and drama. When it's the East Side Kids, it's going to be fun. Pride and Prejudice. The arrival of wealthy bachelors in town causes an uproar when families with single daughters aggressively seek engagements, including the Bennett family with 5 eligible daughters. Pride and Prejudice. Greg Garson and Laurence Olivier. Rebecca. A self-conscious woman juggles adjusting to her new role as an aristocrat's wife and avoiding being intimidated by his first wife's spectral presence. So remember, he always compared her to Rebecca. Rebecca. Remember the Night. Love blooms between a sympathetic attorney and the comely shoplifter he has taken home for the Christmas holiday. Comedy, drama, and romance. Remember the Night. Road to Singapore. Here we go. Bing Crosby, Dorothy Lamour, and Bob Hope. 2 playboys try to forget previous romances in Singapore until they meet a beautiful dancer. Road to Singapore. Great comedy, musical, and romance film. Bob Hope and Bing Crosby made a great team. Santa Fe Trail. Drama, war, and western. In 1854, Jeb Stuart, George Custer, and other graduates from West Point are posted to Kansas to help pacify the territory before railroad construction to Santa Fe can resume. Laurel and Hardy in Saps at Sea. Comedy. Oliver suffers a nervous breakdown as a result of working in a horn factory. But when he follows doctor's orders about sea air, he finds an ex-con is aboard. Comedy ensues. Strange Cargo, Clark Gable and Joan Crawford. Convicts escaping from Devil's Island come under the influence of a strange, Christ-like figure, Ian Hunter. Adventure, drama, and romance. If it has Clark Gable, it's good. And Joan Crawford, it's always good. Stranger on the Third Floor. An aspiring reporter is the key witness at a murder trial of a young man accused of cutting a cafe owner's throat, and is soon accused of a similar crime himself. Stranger on the Third Floor, starring Peter Lorre. Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland in Strike Up the Band. A high school boy wants to become a professional musician, and his gal pal wants to become his best girl. They work together staging big band shows with fellow classmates, in the hopes of hitting it big. Strike Up the Band. Susan and God, Joan Crawford and Frederick March. Comedy and drama. Susan Trexel is a wealthy socialite who, while vacationing in Europe, undergoes a religious transformation. On her return to America, Susan takes on the task of spreading her newfound religion. Susan and God. That gang of mine. Gang member Muggs aspires to be a jockey and tries to cheat his way to the top. Comedy, drama, and sport, featuring the East Side Kids. We love the East Side Kids. The Fighting 69th, I think I've already covered it, but if we did, although loudmouth braggart Jerry Plunkett alienates his comrades, Father Duffy tries to make him show his waves. This has a Pat O'Brien and George Brent, James Cagney, and Alan Hale, father, Alan Hale Sr. The Great Dictator, featuring the legend Charlie Chaplin. Dictator Adnoid Hinkle tries to expand his empire, while a poor Jewish barber tries to avoid persecution from Hinkle's regime. Comedy, drama, and war. The Howards of Virginia, featuring Cary Grant. Just prior to the American War of Independence, aristocratic Virginian Jane Peyton marries unsophisticated rustic farmer and surveyor Matt Howard, who takes her to his Shenandoah Valley plantation. Drama, history, and war. The Mortal Storm. The Roth family leads a quiet life in a small village in the German Alps during the early 1930s. When the Nazis come to power, the family is divided and Martin Breitner, a family friend, is devastated. The Mortal Storm. Margaret Sullivan and James Stewart. W.C. Fields is The Bank Dick. Henpecked Egbert Souzet has comic adventures as a substitute film director and unlikely bank guard. Comedy, The Bank Dick. If it has W.C. Fields, it's a winner. The Bluebird in Technicolor. Myrtle and her brother Tittle, a woodchopper's children, are led by the fairy Berylune on a magical trip through the past, present, and future to locate the Blue Bird of Happiness. The Bluebird. The Ghost Breakers, featuring Bob Hope. If it has Bob Hope and Ghost, it's classic. A radio broadcaster, his quaking manservant, and an heiress investigate the mystery of a haunted castle in Cuba. Bob Hope is awesome. Bob Hope and Paulette Goddard. Another classic is John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. An Oklahoma family driven off their farm by the poverty and hopelessness of the Dust Bowl joins the westward migration to California, suffering the misfortunes of the homeless and the Great Depression. The Grapes of Wrath. The Invisible Man returns. Drama, horror, and mystery. The owner of a coal mining operation, falsely imprisoned for fratricide, takes a drug to make him invisible, despite its side effect, gradual madness. The Lady in Question. A juror in a murder trial takes pity on the recently acquitted defendant and invites her to move into his family's home, and his son soon falls in love with her. The Lady in Question. This is a comedy, drama, and mystery. The Letter, featuring Betty Davis. This is crime and drama. The wife of a rubber plantation administrator shoots a man to death and claims it was self-defense, but in a letter in her own hand may prove her undoing. The Letter. Betty Davis is exquisite in this movie. The Mortal Storm. The Roth family leads a quiet life in a small village in the German Alps during the early 1930s, when the Nazis come to power. Drama. The Mortal Storm. Margaret Sullivan, James Stewart, and Young Morgan. Next up we have is The Return of Frank James. Drama and Western. Frank James continues to avoid arrest in order to take revenge on the Ford brothers for their murder of his brother Jesse. Drama and Western. Gene Tierney and Jackie Cooper. The Return of Frank James. Errol Flynn in The Seahawk. Action, adventure, and history. Jeffrey Thorpe, a buccaneer, is hired by Queen Elizabeth I to nag the Spanish Armada. The Armada is waiting for the attack on England, and Thorpe surprises them with the attack on the galleon. Action, adventure, and history is The Seahawk. The Shop Around the Corner. Two employees at a gift shop can barely stand each other without realizing that they are falling in love through the post as each other's anonymous pen pal. The Shop Around the Corner. Great comedy, drama, and romance. The Westerner. Gary Cooper in The Westerner. Drama and Western. Judge Roy Bean, a self-appointed hanging judge in Virginia, Texas, befriends saddle tramp Cole Hardin, who opposes Bean's policy against homesteaders. The Westerner. The House of Seven Gables. Drama and thriller. Based on the novel by Nathaniel Hawthorne, this classic film follows a family feud between two brothers and an ancient curse that haunts them. The House of Seven Gables. Next up we have is The Invisible Woman. An attractive model with an ulterior motive volunteers as guinea pig for invisibility machine. Comedy, romance, and sci-fi. The Invisible Woman. This movie was good. It's funny, but it's also good. Next up we have is The Mummy's Hand. Look, The Mummy's Hand. Archaeologists defiled the tomb of mummified Charis, who was buried alive for falling in love with an Egyptian princess. The Mummy's Hand. That mummy's going to get revenge. If he gets woken up, he's going to get revenge. You watch. The Philadelphia Story. Cary Grant in the lead. James Stewart as co-star. He walks off with the Oscar. Comedy romance. When a rich woman's ex-husband and tabloid-type reporter turn up just before her planned remarriage, she begins to learn the truth about herself. The Philadelphia Story. That's a great movie. Love Triangle. They Drive by Night. Crime drama. When one of two truck driving brothers loses an arm, they both join a transport company where the other is falsely charged as an accessory in the murder of the owner. They Drive by Night. Crime, drama, and mystery. Those Were the Days. Comedy and romance. A middle-aged couple think back to their college days and courtship. Those Were the Days, featuring William Holden and Benita Granville, Ezra Stone and Judith Barrett, Bogman Glazer. Those Were the Days. 3 Cheers for the Irish. Comedy and romance. This movie is awesome. Peter Casey has been with the New York City Police Department for 25 years. He's totally surprised when he's asked to retire on the 25th anniversary with the force. Comedy and romance. 3 Cheers for the Irish. Priscilla Lane and Thomas Mitchell. Till We Meet Again. Dying Joan Ames meets criminal Dan Hardesty on a luxury liner as he is being transported back to America by police Steve Burke to face execution. Till We Meet Again. Merle Oberon and George Brent. Crime, drama, and musical. Tin Pan Alley. Drama, musical, and romance. Songwriters Calhoun and Harrigan get Katie and Lily to introduce a new one. Lily goes to England and Katie joins her after the boys give a new song to Nora Bayes. Tin Pan Alley. Too Many Girls, featuring Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. A young couple a young couple goes to college, and without her knowledge, her father sends 4 football players as her bodyguards, who eventually join the college. Comedy, musical, and sport. Too Many Husbands. Long missing Bill Cardrew returns to find his wife Vicky remarried, and in no hurry to settle for just one husband. Comedy and romance. Which one? Too Many Husbands. Tugboat Annie sails again. Now widowed Tugboat Annie, tugboat queen of the Northwest, struggles to save her job against the competition of rival Captain Bullwinkle. Tugboat Annie strikes again. Adventure, comedy, and drama. Virginia City, drama and western. Union officer Carrie Bradford escapes from Confederate prison and is set to Virginia City, Nevada, where he finds out that former commander of his prison, Vance Irby, is planning to kill him. Virginia City. Waterloo Bridge. Myra and Roy meet and fall in love in Waterloo Bridge during an air raid. Their love will be one of the war's unspoken casualties. Drama, war, and romance. Vivien Leigh and Robert Taylor in Waterloo Bridge. Young Thomas Edison is a funny, awesome movie featuring Mickey Rooney. Inventor Thomas Edison's boyhood is chronicled and shows him as a lad whose early inventions and scientific experiments usually end up causing disastrous results. Biography, drama, and family. Young Thomas Edison. Those are the films that we loved of 1940. Those are the best movies of 1940. If there's any movies I left out that you recommend or that I didn't include, please leave them below and maybe I can do a video covering that movie or movies. I'm Tony. Thank you for watching and hanging out with us here at Yesteryear. And today, I'll see you all in the next video.